Today I'm visiting Frankfurt, Germany to take a look at a museum that showcases the Jewish history of the city. Let's go.
Inside the Judengasse Museum of Frankfurt, you will find the archaeological remains of a Jewish neighborhood that once stood on these very grounds. Now sit back and join me as I take you on an exploration of that amazing site and the history held within. Origins of Jewish settlement in this area date back to nearly 1,000 years ago, when a small group of merchants settled this area as a result of the lucrative financial privileges that had been granted. Unfortunately, the next couple of centuries would witness many setbacks, including ethnic discrimination and the Black Plague. The 1400s were witness to a time when the number of inhabitants would once again grow. Over the previous ages, the Jewish population had already experienced a large degree of prejudice, but it was during this time that the town council would force them to relocate into a specific area, classifying this as the Jewish Ghetto. This district had now become a very crowded part of town, and before long, many regulations and restrictions were being put into place by local authorities. More conflicts would occur during the 1600s, as well as riots and looting. Throughout the 1700s, many of these structures were damaged by a series of fires, followed by heavy bombardment from French troops during the Rhine campaign of 1796. The previous century of turmoil eventually led to a period of reform. By the early 1800s, many of the discriminatory actions against the Jewish community had been abolished, and there was no longer the requirement for them to be segregated. However, these better times did not last. By the 1930s, the region would be experiencing the rise of a much more extreme prejudice, leading to the removal of many of the city's Jewish residents. Which now brings us to World War II. After the war, most of the remaining buildings were demolished due to the enormous amounts of destruction that had been acquired. Before long, new construction would begin over the former Jewish quarter. What you now see at the Judengasse Archaeological Museum is what was excavated around 1990. Throughout this winding maze of stone walls, you will encounter an interesting assortment of artifacts recovered from this once thriving community. But don't think that these items are limited to relics of superb craftsmanship. Numerous works of literature have also been carefully preserved here, including manuscripts, legal documents, and religious texts, all protectively encased on display. Just outside of the museum is a concrete wall. Along the side are plaques displaying the names of those people who were removed from society and placed into camps. And it is here that visitors may now pay their respects. Inside of that wall, you will find a cemetery that once contained the headstones of several thousand people. But sadly, many of those were also destroyed during the events of wartime Germany.